Insight, Liz, thank you. CDC Director Tom Frieden, Health and Human Services members and others are less than 2 hours away from testifying before House lawmakers on their handling of Ebola. Joining me now is Congressman Morgan Griffith from Virginia, who's a member of the Oversight and Investigations Subcommittee. Congressman Griffith, great to have you ahead of that this afternoon. What is the biggest question on the table for the Director of the CDC, Thomas Frieden, from you?
I think the biggest question is going to be, what are we going to do going forward? It's clear they've made mistakes in the past. They've indicated that things weren't going to happen that have in fact happened. But what do we do now to make sure that we're protecting the American public? That's the big concern. I think everybody, Democrats, Republicans, everybody is concerned about what are you doing now that was different from what you did in the past that didn't work to assure Americans their security and their safety.
A lot of concerns about the handling of this by Thomas Frieden. What are you hearing in Washington about whether or not he is the guy for the job?
Well, you know, this is a very complicated situation, and we're in the middle of it right now, and I'm going to refer back to Abraham Lincoln when he said, don't change horses in the middle of the stream. I think we have to figure out where we're going, where we're at, and then we can come back in and take a look at whether or not Dr. Frieden did it right or wrong, and then make decisions at that point. But that's a decision for the administrative branch of government, and I'm always telling them, stop trying to do my job as a legislator, and I'll stop trying to do yours. And I think maybe we need to look at those lines. But it's a question the president ought to be asking himself, but that's for him to do.
Congressman, the fact that we're even talking about somebody dropping the ball in the handling of this is certainly going to bring up a lot of questions in that hearing this afternoon. Thomas Frieden will be grilled on that. You know, when you look at the fact that this nurse who cared for a gentleman who had Ebola and later then got on a plane, flew from Cleveland to Dallas after she had showed signs of Ebola such as a fever, you know, you have to believe that somebody has dropped the ball somewhere. Where right now do you believe that the blame lies before this committee hearing starts this afternoon?
Well, I don't think there's any question they have misjudged the crisis. They've not taken the steps necessary to protect America. They didn't. The president and his folks, including Dr. Frieden, didn't think it would come here. Then they didn't think it would spread. Somebody at CDC told that nurse it was okay for her to fly to Cleveland. I don't know what they were thinking. Clearly, they have underestimated the concern of the American people and the threat to the American people, and we need to find out what they're going to do in the future to make sure that those mistakes don't continue, because now we have hundreds of people who are worrying. I've got a father in Virginia who's a Facebook friend of mine who says, you know, Morgan, my daughter lives in the complex with one of those nurses. What can I expect? And I'll be asking those questions that he wanted me to ask Dr. Frieden.
I think we all have a lot of questions. Congressman Morgan Griffith, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
With more on the CDC controversy and to answer the public's question about